Cancer. Welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. We're talking about March, which is crazy that we're already talking about March. I will probably say that every month going forward because I'm always just so surprised that we're talking about yet another month. So I hope February has been going well for you, is going well for you. I actually launched an Etsy store myself in February. So I would love it if you checked it out. Of course, I'll link it in the description below. As always, there's no obligation to buy anything. If you feel connected to something and would like to purchase it, I would love that. But at the very least, if you could just fill the space with a ton of love so that other people will want to buy stuff. I appreciate it. I also have a couple of these decks in the shop, the Tarot of the Abyss. Love this deck. So yeah, if you feel connection to this deck and want to work with it yourself, I have a couple of those. Like I said, I have free shipping on everything, and I send a couple gifts to you with every purchase also, so it's kind of a nice little surprise. Anyway, let's talk about you. So like I said, we're talking about March. We do a 4-card spread. The first position is the current energy. To the left of that is any potential blocks. Underneath is advice for clearing the block. And the last card is the energy that you're heading into. I don't shuffle reversals into the deck, but we'll take the cards in reverse if they fall out that way. And interestingly enough, even with this deck, right? Because when I get a new deck, I just handle it a lot. I try to get like all of my energy like in the nooks and crannies, and just so that we can get like calibrated to each other's energies and stuff. So I'll kind of keep it close to me and just ask random questions or do readings for myself or, whatever. And I shuffle all of my decks the same way. I'm kind of OCD like that. And every time I would pick up this deck, like the first few times, there would be reversals in it. And I just had to kind of laugh. So literally one night I put the deck in front of me and I was like, look, man, I just don't connect to like reversals. So that's why I don't necessarily, I don't shuffle them into the deck, but I very much will take them if they fall out and just kind of end up in the reverse, right? That's just me. That's my personal preference. That's how I operate. And seriously, ever since then, there hasn't been a random reversal that has shown up in the deck. So I think that's kind of cool. So, the cards do actually have to fall out of the deck. If they flip in the deck, we'll just flip them over and keep it moving. My intention is for 1 card to come out at a time, but if 2 come out together, we'll take 2, but any more than 2, we'll put it back in the deck because we do want the message to be super clear. So, what is the current energy? Okay, for Cancer. 10 of Swords. Some mental stuff going on there. 9 of Swords. 7 of Cups, 3 of Swords. Yep, wow. Okay, mental stuff for sure. The 9 of Swords, 7 of Cups, 3 of Swords, King of Swords, 7 of Swords, 5 of Swords. We might talk about some of those. The cool thing about this deck is that the author has put 2 alternative cards in the deck, and this being one of them. The 10 of Swords has a traditional, and then the alternative, and the 3 of Swords, which is also the alternative card, is the 3 of Swords that was kind of showing up here. So the 10 of Swords, generally in the traditional sense, the 10 of Swords, it's a person laying on the ground with 10 swords in its back, right? it's a bit defeating. The swords deal with our thoughts and intellect, right? So it's the Ten of Swords is kind of all of the what ifs, it's all of the opinions, all of the rejections, all of the mental stuff. It's mental gymnastics, right? This depiction of the Ten of Swords talks about experience and wisdom. This is, kind of using that experience and wisdom kind of in order to grow. Owls have, like their symbolism is based in wisdom and guidance, right? And then we kind of have this older figure here, and they're kind of staring into each other's eyes also, right? So it's, experience. It's also a bit of clarity also. Like, we don't really see the anguish that can be depicted like it is here in the Nine of Swords. We don't really see that anguish in this depiction of the Ten of Swords, right? It's interesting because it's not, it's not necessarily in the head. All of the swords are in the body of this owl here. That's interesting. And then we have the Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck. And the Nine of Swords is anxiety. It's generally depicted at night. So, it's the things that we lose sleep over, the things that kind of keep us up at night. Like I said, just kind of the mental gymnastics. Anguish, anxiety, right? We have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups talks about options, maybe a bit daydreamy. This person's head is in the clouds, right? Like their feet aren't on the ground, their head is in the clouds. So again, like this can be just, almost kind of like your thoughts going a bit wild. This could also be, like your feelings may feel a little bit out of your control also. And this could be because, there's a lot of mental stuff going on instead of kind of being more in your body and more grounded, right? Because, when our heads are in the clouds, there's, it's a lot of, kind of fantasy. This can even be the stories that we've created around the situation. It's, like even just reinforcing the stories that we have kind of built our personalities and identities around. But we're not grounded, right? So again, like it's almost kind of fantasy. It's not based in the physical realm. And then, like I said, this depiction of the Three of Swords. So the traditional depiction of the Three of Swords is, there's three swords going into or through a heart, right? So again, it talks about heartbreak, but this is the mental stuff, like how we think about loss, how we just kind of mull over loss and heartbreak and rejection and all of those things, right? But again, this depiction of the Three of Swords talks about knowledge. The swords are going into this book here, right? And all of these letters are coming off of the page and almost, kind of flying into his mind here. So it's information gathering almost. The King of Swords. The King of Swords is disciplined. He's clear in thought, right? I mean, we have this kind of little globe that's glowing up here, right? You know, there's this maze back here. This is, you know, kind of the maze that is in our brain that we kind of, you know, like inadvertently sometimes kind of put ourselves in, right? I mean, there's even this paper that he's holding. There could be some sort of contract. This could be an air sign that you're dealing with, a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. There's this compass of the heart also. We have the Seven of Swords. And, you know, the Seven of Swords talks about kind of being sneaky, a bit manipulative can be the energy of the Seven of Swords. It's also, you know, like the card of risk. But, you know, I mean, we have this person that's kind of like hiding in a closet, right? in the traditional depiction of it, you know, like the person, it has all seven of the swords and they're kind of sneaking off with them. So they're kind of, it's a little thievery, right? So, you know, it kind of depends on what your energy is, or the person, you know, if there's another person involved. You know, like, are you being sneaky? Are you being manipulative of a situation, right? And is that causing there to be conflict? Because the Five of Swords talks about conflict. And almost just, you know, I'm kind of getting this feeling of like things being out of your control. Or even you trying to control a situation intellectually. Or even trying to beat somebody intellectually. Like, you know, that's kind of what the Five of Swords energy is. Like you're trying to be smarter than. And that's kind of where this Seven of Swords, like this manipulation kind of comes into. Because if, again, like I said, you know, it depends on, and this could be you or somebody that you're dealing with, right? But just kind of being in this energy of like kind of just wanting to win at any cost. And then, like I said, we have, well, like I said, we have the Strength card underneath that. And it's, you know, I'm kind of getting this feeling of like not wanting to, like you're not budging. There is no budging whatsoever. No budging whatsoever. So I just kind of wanted to go through that just because of how many swords cards we have here. Like there's a lot of mental stuff going on here. And these aren't the best mental cards to have, right? Like, so let's just kind of see. Let's just kind of see more of the story here. So what is a block for Cancer? Is this two? We have the Eight of Wands and the Lovers. Yeah, like I said, like there is no budging, no movement whatsoever. Like, you know, the, oh, I was going to flip these over. That's what I was going to do. Ten of Swords. Look at this. The World. Okay. Let's start over here. So we have the Eight of Wands. The Wands talk about communication and action. With this being in the blocked position, communication is not going well. Or, yeah, it's either not going well or it's not even happening altogether. You know, the Eight of Wands is a fast moving card. I mean, you know, it's kind of quick. And then we have the Lovers. So this could be, of course, I mean, it could be a relationship and it can be any type of relationship. I know, obviously the lovers comes with its own, connotation, but it can be anything from romantic to platonic to biological to work to, right, like friends. Oh, I said platonic. Any type of relationship that has an impact in your life. So, this could just be in your relationship. Communication has either ceased or is not going well. The Lovers card talks about the balance of the masculine and feminine, right? Because we need the feminine flow. We need the feminine, like, fertility. We need the fertility of, opportunities in our life. We need opportunities to kind of birth into our life, right? Like, and the feminine is very much flowy and nurturing, right? And then the masculine is the go-getter. The masculine is the one that kind of takes the action and kind of initiates and makes things happen, right? So we need the energy of both things in order for there to be balance in a situation, right? So that's also, like at the center of the Lovers card, that's what it's about. The Lovers card also talks about decisions and choices because, the decisions and the choices that we make also affect both sides, the masculine and the feminine, right? It decides how much in the flow you are. It decides, like how much opportunity can birth into your life. It also determines what type of initiation to take or what type of action to go for, right? I love how like this tree almost kind of looks like it's leaning in and it's got like this branch around it. And then there's this tree over here that almost just kind of looks like it's trying to get away. Like, when somebody's trying to hug you and you don't want to be hugged and how you just like, you try to like scoot out of it. That's how this feels to me. So, again, there could just be like a breakdown in communication or a breakdown to the point where it's just not happening. And then we have this depiction, like I said, the traditional depiction of the 10 of Swords, which again, we have all these swords sticking into the back of this guy. How much? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this person, I just realized it. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. This person has one more sword in their hand. One could deduce that this person is walking towards this person and that sword is more than likely going to end up in this person's back. So this could be something that you are anticipating. This could be, this could be the, excuse me, let me get my words together. This could be what you believe the situation is. Like I was kind of saying before with the 7 of Cups, right? It's the stories that we tell ourselves. It's the things that we believe to be reality, right? And not to say that it's wrong by any means, but I think that we should always be checking in on ourselves and really determining, is this what is true of the situation, or is this me reliving a story about myself in this situation? Is this person triggering this story? Like, am I looking for evidence to support this story that I have about myself? So, again, like there could be more than one person in the situation, right? This could be you. And you could be feeling like, you already have these nine swords in your back. Like, what else can I do? I'm kind of helpless. I'm kind of out of options here. You could be this person with this 10th sword, and the other person involved in this situation could be feeling this way. You both could be feeling this way and believing that the other person is this person. So that's what I mean, right? Like, we all have our own stories, right? But who's right? Like, so that's why we check in with ourselves. That's why, it's so important to do like that deep, heavy inner child work. So the other, with this depiction of the 10 of Swords, right? We're on the ground. There's, these are the things that, like I said, opinions, old stories, old behaviors, old patterns, all of that shit, right? That prevents us from moving forward. Because who's to say, this could be the Ace of Swords right here. This could be the sword of truth. This could be this person coming in and saying, look, this is the sword of truth, right? Like, this is the sword that's going to help you. And again, you could be this person, or this could be, if there is somebody else involved in the situation, it could be the other person involved in the situation. And either you may not want to see it that way, or they don't want to see it that way. But that's an option. Because technically the 9, wait, 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay. I had to count again. Technically the 9s are the completions, right? And the 10 is a manifestation of the thing. So there's already 9 swords in this person. So there is already completion here. You've thought of every which way a situation could go. You've considered everything. You've probably maybe even have tried everything. Or again, if this is the other person, same for them. And this could even, this could be the universe, right? This could be your higher self coming in here with this Ace of Swords being like, okay, these 9 swords got to go. This is the sword of truth. Like, this is the idea that we need. This is the way that we need to approach this situation. So like I said, this could be your higher self. This could be the universe. It could be God, whoever, if you connect to a higher power, whichever higher power that is, that could be this figure here. And then we have the World card here, because it's like, putting an end to this cycle of just being on that hamster wheel in your head. Again, it could have to do with inner child work. We have this baby, kind of looking like it's in the womb type thing here. The World is a true end, though. Like, you've gone from the Fool all the way to you've gone through the whole journey on the situation. And the World comes after a transformation, right? It comes after Judgment. Judgment is the transformation. And it's usually your transformation. This could even just be like, birthing of it, like a new opportunity. Like, we have this eye here. There could just be something that's kind of incubating right now. We have the 9 of Wands. Feeling a little beat up. This situation has kind of kicked your ass a bit, but you're still standing, right? Like, persistence. And there's an R word that I cannot remember. Oh, somebody please, please drop that down into my consciousness, because it is killing me. But persistence, right? Resilience. Thank you. You haven't given up. You have not given up. And because you haven't given up, this is, like the physical manifestation of what you've been working for, or towards. The King of Pentacles, the Pentacles talk about our money, resources, like our homes, where we live, our physical 3D body, right? It's the tangible things. It's what we can physically touch. They're a little slower moving though, because in the 3D world, like time is different. It takes time for these things to come to fruition or to manifest in this realm. So, we have, I don't know if these are mountains or little kind of teepees here. I don't know if you can see it. The pentacle is at, this person's heart. The King of Pentacles is, it's an earth sign too. So, you could be dealing with a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This almost just kind of feels like an offering from the heart also. Like this person is, kind of opening their cloak here to kind of show or make their pentacle visible, right? Like kind of right where the heart space is. And then the last card I'll kind of talk about, we'll move on, is the Four of Swords, which talks about rest. It's giving your mind a rest, but it's also being in a situation where you can do that. You don't have to go through the mental gymnastics anymore. You can lay down your swords for a little while and kind of take a little breaky poo. It talks about meditation, rest, discipline too, like just kind of discipline of the mind. Let's see the advice for clearing the block. There's a lot of mental stuff going on here. Whoop. What's the advice for clearing the block for Cancer? King of Cups. The Hanged One. Ten of Wands. Page of Swords. Interesting. So we have the King of Cups. I mean, this is your element, right? The cups are water. Water signifies emotions, right? So this almost kind of feels like getting control over your emotions, because the King of Cups is very much in control of their emotions, right? Like there's all of this shit going on. Like it looks like he's on a ship, right? And there's all of these waves out here going on, but he's just here chilling, like very much under control. Even the fluid or liquid in his cup is coming out, like very much in control. He's also able to communicate those emotions clearly, very much able to, very much able to even share emotions like with other people. Because when we get to the King, it's now, like it has to do with your community, right? Like your kingdom, quote unquote. So it's not just you. It's not just internalized. Like I see the Queen as internalizing the energy and embodying the energy, right? And when we get to the King, we have it so much figured out that we're able to then share it with other people. The Hanged One is the Hanged Man in the traditional tarot. And the Hanged Man talks about seeing things from a different perspective. Generally, like there's that figure that's hanging upside down. But they're not like stressed out. You know, it's not like they're not in any pain or anything. The reason why they're up there, upside down, is so that they can see things from a different perspective. They can see that there is a different path that'll lead you to the same result, or even maybe a better result. The Hanged Man usually talks about like enlightenment also, because, you know, if you're able to see things from many different perspectives, not just, again, like not just that one that we created when we were 3 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 15, right? Like, it's not those stories that we created at that time. It's being the adult version of ourselves and recognizing that those stories that we created when we were that young was based on very limited information, right? Like, how are we going to create a story when we're 3? How much experience do we have in life at the age of 3 or 6 or 10 or 15, right? But now here we are, adults, full functioning, most times adults. We have way more experience with the world, with other people, with ourselves, right? So now, you know, the Hanged Man, it's almost like, you know, kind of willful suspension. There is a delay, and that delay is for your highest good. It's usually so that you can see things from a different perspective. When we flip this upside down, all of a sudden, you probably noticed it anyway when it was the other way, but we have this house here. You know, we have this little path. There's this tree, right? But the only way that we could have seen that in that way is for it to be upside down, or for us to be upside down. And I haven't done a headstand in like 20 years, so I'm not going to be upside down doing that, right? And then we have the 10 of Wands behind there, which talks about burden. Almost, you know, just kind of feeling like things are, you know, like all these wands are a bit heavy, but this is that experience. These are all the things that you've tried. This is everything you've learned about communication. And you're putting it to work. So the advice, you know, it seems like is to, of course, just, you know, be very clear in your feelings. Also, and again, like going back to what I was saying with the Lovers in that position, or maybe it was actually the 10 of Swords, like really kind of checking in with yourself and making sure that you're embodying this King of Cups energy, because he doesn't manipulate. There are no mental gymnastics with, you know, the King of Cups. There's no, you know, like trying to outwit somebody just so that you can win, right? There's no competition there. And then also, of course, just the opportunity to, with the Hanged One, seeing things from a different perspective. Just even seeing that there's, again, like a different route to the same destination. And maybe it's not the one that you want to take. And maybe that's why you have to be upside down to see it that way. I kind of want to take these. We have the Chariot, the Two of Cups, and the Wheel of Fortune. And then the Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So the Chariot talks about a path forward. The Chariot moves, right? But this is like the universe. Again, whoever you deem to be your higher power, that's them moving this forward, right? It's a way out showing up for you. And it's fast moving. We have the Two of Cups in the middle. The Two of Cups can talk about relationship, of course. It is the minor arcana to the Lover's card. So, there could very well be a significant relationship that comes in, or this could be you and this situation over here coming to an agreement. Because, the Two of Cups, we start at the Ace of Cups, right? And the Ace of Cups talks about, like having enough. Your cup is full. Your cup is actually overflowing. Your needs are met. You feel fulfilled. You feel heard. Your emotion feels great, right? And then we move to the Two. So you have enough for yourself and you have enough to offer somebody else. But then this other person also is in that same position. It's 50-50, right? Like what you're giving, you are getting in return. Very reciprocal, right? And then we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is the wheel turning in your favor, right? It's luck. It's things going well for you. So and then we have, the Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. The King of Cups is holding that Ace of Cups, right? Because again, going back to being in your energy, right? We start in our heads. Then, the frustration is that the action isn't going the way that we think it should, or it's just not moving, or there's just nothing happening. And then we start getting back into Cancer energy, back into water energy, right? So it's kind of like, when you get into this energy here, that just kind of propels things to move forward. There seems to be like a compromise happening here. Even with this Two of Cups, there seems to be a compromise in some sense that allows things to move forward, changes things for the better. You feel good about it because it fits you also, right? Like it's still your image. Beautiful. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for being here. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.